Developing news coming out in the past hour of a new 6.1 magnitude earthquake that just struck, along with several others in the last 24 hours. We're receiving ring of fire in the Pacific warnings and new volcanoes erupting, and specifically concerns with the west coast of North America, California, Alaska. I'm going to get you caught up on the latest so that way you can see it for yourself coming out today, August 10th, 2025. Take a look at the latest headlines with me. Earthquake of a magnitude 6.1 has just struck in western Turkey. This coming out, you can see 57 minutes ago today, August 10th, 2025. Here's another article that just came out. Turkey struck by 6.1 magnitude earthquake. Here is what to know. Now, also in the last 24 hours, take a look at this. Guatemala rattled by a 5.9 magnitude earthquake as well. And as I mentioned, concerns of a massive earthquake that could be brewing beneath North America, study suggests. And I shared with you other articles on this study as they're saying the west coast of the North America needs to be on the lookout. Right now, concerns of not just the San Andreas fault, but faults going up the north coast to Oregon, Washington, into Alaska. And take a look at this. Now, this coming out a couple days ago. Ring of fire shocks raise west coast fears. As we're hearing the ring of fire, the faults, the volcanoes, they are erupting in mass ever since we saw that 8.8 quake rock Russia's coast. And here's another one coming out just yesterday. Japan's volcano erupts, sending ash plumes, another volcano. And take a look at the volcanic activity as of yesterday. You can see that Pacific Ring of Fire all along the Pacific. You can see in Central America, South America, up by Alaska, and over by Asia, all along there. Volcanoes are erupting left and right. And take a look at this. If you just Google earthquake right now, you can see 6.1 magnitude earthquake just struck off of Turkey today. Yesterday, 5.9 struck Guam. Another 5.9 struck Guatemala. And also you can see a 6.0 struck in Russia yet again. Earthquake after earthquake is happening right now. The Pacific Ring of Fire is shaking. The tectonic plates are moving. Volcanoes are erupting, and there are major warnings of new faults waking up at this time. And again, like I said, today is August the 10th. It was exactly 1 week ago, last Sunday, I shared with you, I believe it was, that we saw that 7.0 rock Russia, and we saw new volcanoes erupting. And just a couple days before that, we had seen that 8.8 hit, and there were tsunami warnings that were released. So there is a lot of activity happening in our Earth right now. And as of today, August 10th, we are seeing new major quakes, magnitudes 6.1, 5.9, 5.9, and 6.0. all in just the last 24 hours. So I'm going to dive into the details of these articles, get you caught up on the latest so that way you can see it for yourself. And again, as I mentioned, there's been a lot of speculation about what is going on here. Let me know your thoughts. Is this just natural occurrences of nature? If so, put a 1. If you think that this is maybe God trying to send a message to us, concerns, put a 2. If you think that this is potentially caused by what many speculated was an underground nuclear test that went wrong in Russia, put a 3. Or if you think that this is weather manipulation, put a 4. Those are some of the theories that I've heard. There are some theories, conspiracy theories, but let me know your thoughts. Sometimes we find out later on down the road that some of the conspiracy theories actually were right. So let me know what you think is going on. Drop your number in the comments. And don't forget, while you're dropping those numbers in there, take a second, hit that thumbs up like button for me. Just that simple gesture of clicking that helps the live stream while we're live. I see we got almost 2,200 people live with me in the room. If we can get the likes up to half of the room, 1,100 likes, it really helps out the channel a ton. So if you haven't done so yet, you appreciate the updates, please take a second, hit that like button, especially if you see we haven't hit 1,100 yet. Also, as you guys know here on the channel, all the articles I'm going to be referencing, they are going to be put on the screen. I'm going to read right from them. You'll see the dates, the sources, and I cite them. They're going to be hyperlinked in the description. So if you want to read these articles for yourself, you can click them, go check out the articles, try to hold myself to the highest level of accountability for my community here on the channel. And like I said, if you appreciate that, don't forget, hit that like button. And to stay up to date on everything going on, and man, it seems like there is a lot right now. I'm going to keep you up to date on what's going on with the activity in the Pacific. Also, with what's going on with global conflicts right now. We're hearing there's going to be a big meeting between the United States, Russian President Vladimir Putin, also Zelensky, to see if there's a way to do a ceasefire. There's also conflict in the Middle East. We've got legislation that is being proposed here in the United States. And if you missed it, yesterday I gave you an update that the Senior Citizens League said that there should be a one-time $1,400 payment to Social Security recipients. Also, a tariff tip or stimulus check has been proposed as well by Senator Josh Hawley. We saw the big, beautiful bill pass, legislation left and right. We're going to see where we go from here. I will keep you up to date every step of the way. And if you want to stay up to date, like I said, hit that subscribe button. But let's go ahead and get to these articles so you can see what's been coming out in the last 24 hours. Is the world, it is quaking at this time. Let's go ahead and take a look. Now, let's take a look at this article. Just came out 57 minutes ago from the time of this recording. Earthquake of magnitude 6.1 strikes western Turkey, disaster authorities say. Now, the article says an earthquake of a magnitude 6.1 just struck western Turkey on Sunday. The country's AFAD Disaster Management Authority said, while local media said the quake was felt across multiple provinces. AFAD said that the quake occurred at around 7:53 p.m. local time in the Balıkesir province near Turkey's biggest city, Istanbul. But there were no immediate reports of casualties or damage in any of the affected provinces. Now, here's another one that came out on this from Newsweek. It says, Turkey struck by a 6.1 magnitude earthquake. Here is what to know. This coming out in about the past hour. Now, the article says a 6.1 magnitude earthquake rattled Turkey on Sunday, according to the United States Geological Survey earthquake map. Now, thank you for the super chat. I see you, Aqua to Fana Blue. Thank you for that $5 super chat. She says, Yeshua is king, now, always, and forever. Even chain breaks in his name. Every shadow scattered and every knee will bow before him. Thank you so much for that, Aqua. I appreciate that. And if you agree with her, go ahead and drop a praying hands in the comments and also say a prayer for our world if you are a praying individual. Thank you for that $5 super chat. Back to the article, it says the quake struck at a depth of about 6 miles or 10 kilometers, just 10 kilometers south of Badek, the map shows. Now, Biget is just over 200 miles southwest of Istanbul, the country's largest city. No injury or damage reports were immediately available. Now, the latest earthquake comes as a wave of seismic activity has struck across the globe in passing weeks, including an 8.8 magnitude earthquake in Russia that prompted tsunami warnings and evacuations along the west coast earlier in the month. Turkey sits on top of the North Anatolian Fault, or the NAF, and the East Anatolian Fault, the EAF, making it prime seismic activity. And here you can see this map. United States Geological Survey maps the 6.1 magnitude earthquake in Turkey on August 10th, 2025. Today, you can see this right here. Now, scrolling down, it says also Guatemala rattled by a 5.9 magnitude earthquake as well. Let's take a look at that. So, man, Turkey getting hit with a massive 6.1, and Guatemala, now this one yesterday hit as well, rattled by a 5.9 magnitude earthquake. We are seeing earthquakes all around the world right now that are striking since that 8.8 that hit Russia. A 5.9 magnitude earthquake struck off the coast of Guatemala on Saturday, the United States Geological Survey reported. There were no initial damage or injury reports immediately available. The quake hit about 62 miles from Champerico, Guatemala, according to the USGS map. It was the latest earthquake to strike along the Matuga Fault, which has seen a dozen similar seismic events over the last year. Newsweek has reached out to the USGS for comments via email during non-working hours on Saturday. Now, here's why it matters. Guatemala sits along the active plate boundaries and fault systems that produce frequent earthquakes and landslides. Many communities are still coping with the human and infrastructure impacts of a series of quakes that struck the country in July, ending the lives of multiple people and leaving buildings damaged across several towns, according to the Associated Press. So here's what to know. The earthquake registered as a 5.9 magnitude and occurred offshore at shallow depths, which increased the distance over which shaking was felt. People reported feeling shaking in Guatemala City and in parts of southern Mexico, the Associated Press reported. It comes weeks after an 8.8 magnitude quake in Russia prompted tsunami warnings and evacuations across the west coast. The earthquake on Saturday also comes just 1 month after Guatemala saw multiple seismic events spanning from July 8th to the 9th. Now, during the sequence, a 5.7 magnitude main shock near Amatitlán and produced hundreds of aftershocks. Authorities reported several deaths, landslides, and widespread damage to homes, schools, and roads, according to the Associated Press. Geologically, Guatemala experiences earthquakes as a result of the Coco Plate's subduction beneath the North American and Caribbean plates along the Middle America Trench, and from strike-slip systems such as the Motagua Fault System across the country's northern region. These tectonic structures have produced major historical earthquakes, including a deadly 1976 event referenced in reporting on the region's seismic history, the USGS has reported. Ad Straw Hat, thank you so much. If I can leave one statement, I'd say, let those that know God is the creator of the world and the universe, and his son Jesus are returning, and to repent. Thank you for that $5 super chat. And again, if you agree, drop those praying hands in the comments. And it just seems like there is a lot of activity taking place right now. Pretty incredible. Now, we always see earthquakes all the time, but it seems like since that 8.8 that struck Russia with the tsunami warnings, we are seeing, they're saying, a parade of volcanic activity. The ring of fire is lighting up. Major quakes have been hitting. We just saw around 4 6.0 earthquakes in the last 24 hours. And there are some major concerns coming out here. Let's go ahead and read on. What happens next? Seismologists expect aftershocks to continue following any shallow earthquake and anticipate that there will be continued seismic activity in the region in the coming days. Residents in the vulnerable areas should remain alert for additional shaking and to follow guidance from national authorities on evacuations and road safety, the USGS has said. Guatemalan authorities will make their damage assessments in the following days. So, man, there you have it, you guys. Major earthquakes happening in Guatemala, in Turkey in just the last hour, a big one in Russia, and another one in Guam as well. And like I said, all of these around the 6.1, 6.0, 5.9 range, all in the last 24 hours. And we see earthquakes all the time, but it seems like right now there are some serious warnings coming out as they're saying the Pacific Ring of Fire is lighting up. We're seeing new volcanoes erupting, and there is a lot of activity underground around the Pacific area. Now, take a look. I shared this with you the last time I gave you an update about a week ago when we had that mega quake coming out of a 7.0. A massive earthquake could be brewing beneath North America, studies suggest. Now, let's go ahead and take a look at this. It says a hidden tectonic fault in Canada's Yukon could be gearing up to unleash a major earthquake of at least a 7.5 magnitude, the study says. Now, the Tintina Fault, which runs from the northeastern British Columbia through to central Alaska, has been quietly accumulating strain for at least 12,000 years. Previously thought to be relatively benign, new analysts suggest that it is still very much active. Worryingly, scientists can't say when the next major quake will strike, only that it almost certainly will. Now, this is one of many, and many people know about the San Andreas Fault. There have been some warnings coming out about that one as well. Let me know your thoughts. Are you concerned about major earthquakes hitting California, the West Coast? If so, put yes. If no, put no. Let me know your thoughts, but there seems to be a lot of warnings coming out. Now, this particular article coming out warning about it up further in North America, up to Alaska, Canada, and we've seen, I shared with you more detail in a previous one, going down even into Washington. But let's take a look at this article coming out a couple days ago. The Ring of Fire shocks raise West Coast fears. And you can see just in the imagery right here, the Earth opening up across the west coast of the United States. Now it says a recent string of powerful earthquakes and volcanic eruptions in Russia and Alaska serve as a stark reminder that the U.S. West Coast, from Seattle to San Diego, lies along one of the Earth's most volatile tectonic boundaries. Now here's why it matters. The same immense geological forces driving quakes, tsunamis, and volcanoes far across the Pacific Ocean mirror those at work beneath Washington, Oregon, California. Harold Tobin, director of the Pacific Northwest Seismic Network, tells Axios. What happened in Russia is a reminder of a similar force at play in our backyard, said Tobin, except we have more people and infrastructure in harm's way. So again, they're warning if a major earthquake hits California, it is going to have a devastating impact as a result of all the people that are along that fault. Catch up quick. A magnitude 8.8 earthquake, one of the strongest ever recorded, struck July 30th beneath the Kamchatka Peninsula in Russia, triggering tsunami warnings from Japan to Chile to the United States. Hours later, the nearby Klychevskoy volcano erupted, followed on Sunday by the Krashenikov volcano, which blew for the first time in centuries just 150 miles from the epicenter of the Kamchatka quake. Earlier, a 7.3 quake was recorded July 16th as well on the Aleutian Islands in Alaska. Meanwhile, a record-breaking swarm of quakes at Mount Rainier is ongoing, according to the Pacific Northwest Seismic Network. The Ring of Fire, home of 75% of Earth's active volcanoes and 90% of its earthquakes, is a belt of tectonic pressure around the Pacific Ocean, driven by movement of the Pacific plates as it collides with neighboring plates. In the Pacific Northwest, the Great Ocean Plate is pushing the relatively small Juan de Fuca Plate under the North American Plate, creating the Cascadia subduction zone, per Tobin. As the smaller plate slides beneath the larger, it heats up and melts deep underground, building mountains and fueling active volcanoes, including Mount Rainier, Mount St. Helens, and Mount Hood. Historically, a destructive earthquake has occurred roughly every 550 years along the subduction zone that runs from Northern California to British Columbia. Now, the last one was in the 1700s, 325 years ago, which means a repeat event could happen any time, Tobin says. Scientists are monitoring how the Kamchatka quake may influence seismic stress across the Pacific Rim, and experts are reminding West Coast communities to sharpen quake and tsunami readiness. What to do? At the very least, start getting your go bag together. Wow. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, as they're saying it is time to sharpen up your skills right now, your readiness, your preparedness for potential major earthquakes. And we've got a lot of volcanoes that are erupting, concerns of tsunami warnings as a result of the earth shaking, all of this surrounding what is happening with the Pacific Ring of Fire right now. Now, in addition to that, as I mentioned, new volcanoes erupting, one in Japan. You can see this coming out yesterday on the 9th, sending an ash plume into the sky. And just take a look at this right here. You can see the seismic activity, currently erupting volcanoes. See in eruption in red, minor activity in yellow. You can see what is going on as of yesterday, August 9th, 2025. All the volcanic activity that is taking place. And there is a lot. Now, in addition to that, as I mentioned, major quakes. You can see it for yourself. A 6.1 in Turkey, 5.9 in Guam, 5.9 in Guatemala, 6.0 in Russia, and all of that just in the last 24 hours. So a lot of seismic activity, a lot of tectonic plates shifting, volcanoes. Man, let me know your thoughts in the comments. Again, I see we've got 3,400 people live with me in the room. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Is this just a natural occurrence? If so, put a 1. Is God trying to communicate something to us? Put a 2. Do you think that this was all started by an underground nuclear test that went bad in Russia? If so, put a 3. Or do you think that this is weather manipulation of some kind? Put a 4. These are the theories that I have heard presented to me. Some might call them conspiracy theories. Some might say this is what's going on. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Aqua, thank you so much for the $2 super chat. Please pray for the people of Guatemala. Yes. And again, I've seen all those praying hands in the comments. Thank you for a community that prays. Please send prayers their way. Pray for everybody that has been devastated by a lot of the things that are taking place around our world. Thank you for that. I appreciate that reminder and that super chat. And I'm seeing a lot of ones and twos pouring in. A lot of people saying God is trying to communicate something to us. I see Stephanie Edison saying Jesus is coming. And I see more of them pouring in. I see Julia and Anderson saying all of the above. She believes that all of these are what is taking place. Now, regardless of what unfolds, I will continue to keep you up to date here on the channel, but I wanted to give you the latest updates that just a little while ago, about 1 hour ago from the time of this recording, we're hearing it was reported a major 6.1 earthquake struck Turkey. We also saw a major 5.9 hit Guatemala. We've seen one in Guam, one in Russia, all in the last 24 hours. Warnings for the North American Pacific coast of a megaquake. The Ring of Fire, they're saying, is waking up, and there are new volcanoes erupting in the Pacific. Volcanic activity left and right. Now, if we see any more major occurrences, I'll be sure to report it here on the channel. But regardless of what unfolds, I'll be here on the channel updating you on the latest. But that is the latest as of today, August 10th, 2025. And again, if you appreciate the updates, do me a favor. If you haven't done so yet, hit that thumbs up like button. Looks like we just need about 80 more likes to get 1,400 while we're live in the room. And subscribe to stay up to date. It's totally free. I'll keep you up to speed on everything. But that is the latest, you guys. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I will catch you in the next one. Take care. God bless. This is Steve.